In this video, we're going to be talking about absolute value equations. But before we start, what is an absolute value? So basically, absolute value talks about the distance of a number from 0 on the number line regardless of direction. All right, so that is the definition of it. So if we are to consider this number line right here real quick, where we have this to be 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Then we have here to be -1, we have -2, and then -3. Let's consider one value on the number line, and we are considering the +2. What is the distance of this +2 from 0? You notice that this is where we have the 0, so the distance is going to be from here all the way to here. Do you see that? And it is clear that this is 2 units. All right, now how about the distance of -2 from 0? Again, this is where we have the -2, so it's going to start from here all the way up to this point. Now, can we write the distance to be -2 unit? Obviously no. Why? Because we don't have a negative distance. So it means that the distance from -2 to 0 and the distance from 0 to +2 are the same. Okay, the distances are equal, 2 units each. So this means that if we are to write an absolute value equation for this, technically we're going to be getting the absolute value of x equal to +2, where this is the distance, right? For this equation to be true, obviously we will need two conditions. The first one is going to be if x is equal to +2, then this is true. And again, if x is equal to -2, this is also true. Now, what these two vertical bars right here do is that they force the value inside to become positive, even if it is negative, right? So that is how come we have -2 inside and we are getting +2. That is the meaning, and it represents length, the distance from one point to another. And of course, we don't have a negative distance. That is one crucial thing that you need to know. Now let's go ahead and then give the general piecewise definition of absolute value. So here, if we have the absolute value of x, this is equal to +x if x is greater than or equal to 0, or -x if x is less than 0. So this is the piecewise definition of absolute value. So now that we have the general concept of absolute value, we can go ahead and then start solving the problems. So let me get rid of these real quick. And then we go. Solve the absolute value of x minus 2 equal to +10. So here we're going to be getting two separate equations, and the first one is going to be x minus 2 is equal to +10, and the second equation is going to be x minus 2 is equal to -10. Then from here we go ahead and then solve these two equations separately, and I'm going to have to add 2 on both sides just because I just want these two to leave, and we are getting x equal to +10 plus 2 is giving us 12, and this is one of the solutions to the problem. Then we move on to the second equation. Again, I'm going to add 2 on both sides so that this -2 will cancel out this. Then we are left with x equal to -10 plus 2 is giving us -8. So this is the other value of x, and that is pretty much for this problem. And we can just go ahead and then verify if we are correct or not. So when x is equal to +12, we're going to be getting the absolute value of +12 minus 2, and the results must give us 10. If we don't get 10, then obviously we are wrong. So here we have 12 minus 2, which is giving us +10, absolute value of that. Of course, this is true because absolute value of 10 is still 10, then 10 is equal to 10, so this is true. Now when x is equal to -8, you're going to be getting the absolute value of -8 minus 2, and indeed the results must be 10. Now over here we're going to be getting -10 inside the absolute, then this is going to be 10. Now right here you notice that these bars are capable of forcing a value to become positive. So you see, this is giving us +10, which is equal to positive. So this is true. Now this is our very next question. We have solve x plus 4 equal to 30. Again, we're going to be getting two equations. The first one is going to be x plus 4 is equal to +30, and the second one is going to be x plus 4 equal to -30. Then from here, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides just because I want this 4 to leave, and I'm getting x equal to positive 30 minus 4 is giving me positive 26, and that is pretty much it. Then let's move on to the second equation. Again, over here I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides like this, so that this positive 4 and this negative 4 will leave. Then we have x equal to negative 30 minus 4 is giving me negative 34, and that is also it. Now let's verify this real quick. When x is equal to positive 26, we're going to be getting 26 plus 4, and this is going to give us the absolute value of 30, which is of course equal to 30. So that is true. Then when x is equal to negative 34, we're going to be getting the absolute value of negative 34 plus 4, and from here negative 34 plus 4 is giving us negative 30 absolute value of that, and the absolute value is going to force this to become positive. So this is also true. Now let's keep going. This is our next question, and this time you notice that we have additional term right at where we have the absolute term, right? So over here what we have to do first is that we have to get rid of that term, which is the positive 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to subtract 3 on both sides like this, so that this and this will leave. Then we are left with the absolute value of x plus 3 is equal to 9 minus 3 is giving us 6. So this is what we have. Then we go ahead and then write the two equations. We have x plus 3 is equal to 6, or x plus 3 is equal to negative 6. Then from here I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and then let me write this 3 well. And then this and this will go. Then we have x equal to 6 minus 3 is giving me 3, and that is it. All right, now let's move on. Now again I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides like this, so that this and this will go. Then we have x equal to negative 6 minus 3 is giving us negative 9. So that is it. All right, now let's go ahead and then test these two values real quick. Now if we are testing, we're going to be getting the absolute value of x, where x is equal to 3. So we're going to be getting 3 plus 3, absolute value of that, then plus 3, and we must get 9 for this. So this is giving us 6, absolute value of that, then plus 3, and you notice that this right here is giving us 6 plus 3, which is indeed 9, and that is it. Now when x is equal to negative 9, again I'm going to replace the x value with negative 9, and from here I'm getting negative 6, absolute value of that, then plus 3, and this will give us positive 6 plus 3, which is equal to 9, and that is also true. All right, so all these two values are correct. Now here we are on the next question. Again, this time we have a coefficient right here, and then another term added to the absolute value term. So what we're going to do is that, let me put down the question real quick. We have x minus 6 minus 7 should give us positive 2. So over here I'm going to add 7 on both sides, so that this negative 7 and then this positive will go. Then we have 2 times the absolute value of x minus 6, and this is equal to 2 plus 7 is 9. So this is what we have. And from here what we are going to do is that we want to isolate only absolute value of x minus 6 on one side and anything else on the other side. So what I'm going to have to do is that I'm just going to multiply both sides by 1/2 like this, or because I just want these two right here to cancel out this, then I'm left with the absolute value of x minus 6, and this is equal to 9 times 1/2 is giving us 9/2. All right, then over here we can just go ahead and then write the two equations, where the first one is x minus 6 is equal to 9/2, and the second equation is gonna be x minus 6 is equal to negative 9/2. And in solving this first equation, let me put it right here. Let me bring that one over here. Now over here what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna add 6 on both sides like this, so that this negative 6 and this positive 6 will go. Then we are left with x equal to, now over here we have 9 divided by 2. Now let's go ahead and then add these two fractions. Of course this is also a fraction because we can write it as 6/1. So we can only combine them when we have a common denominator. So to have a common denominator, I'm going to multiply this by 2 and then multiply the numerator side also by 2, so that I'm getting x is equal to 9 divided by 2 plus 6 times 2 is giving us positive 12. So we have 12 divided by 2, 1 times 2, right? So now we have a common denominator, so we can just go ahead and then combine them. We write one of them, then we sum these two numbers. 9 plus 12 is giving us 21, and it means that if we want a decimal value, we're going to be getting 10.5. so this is the value of x. Let me go ahead and then copy it and paste right there real quick. All right, so let me copy this value and then place it right here. Yeah, so this is the value for x. Now let's go ahead and then solve the second equation real quick. All right, so for this second equation right here, what I'm gonna have to do is that I'm just going to add 6 on both sides again like this, and this -6 and this one will go. So we have x is equal to, now I would like to write this one first because that is positive, then I'll put the -9/2 right here. And again, I just want to get a common denominator, so I'm just going to multiply this one by 2 and then divide by 2 so that the denominators will be the same. So here we have x equal to 6 times 2 is giving me 12 divided by 2, then minus 9/2. So now that we have common denominators, we're going to be getting the denominator to be 2. Then we have 12, which is giving us positive 3, which is also the same as 1.5. So that means the other value is going to be x equal to 1.5, or better still, we can just say x is equal to 3/2. All right, so let's go ahead and then test this real quick. And which equation are we using to test? We can just use this equation right here to test real quick. All right, so here when we have x equal to 10.5, which is the same as 21/2, this is going to be the absolute value of 21 divided by 2 minus 6, and we are supposed to get this right here. All right, so in simplifying this, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to multiply this one by 2 and then divide by 2, and this is going to be the absolute value of 21 then minus 12 divided by 2, absolute value of that. And this right here is going to give me the absolute value of 9/2. And as you can see, this right here is giving us, let me write it here, this is giving us 9 divided by 2, which is the same as this right here. So it is true. Then when x is equal to 3/2, what are we going to get? Is this going to satisfy the equation? Let's see. So when x is equal to 3/2, we're going to be getting this, then minus 6, absolute value of that. And again, this is over 1. I'm going to multiply it by 2 and then multiply the numerator side also by 2. And then I'm getting 3 divided by 2 minus 6 times 2 is giving me 12 divided by this 2 right here, because 1 times 2 is 2. So this is what we have. Then we go ahead and then simplify this. So this is going to give us, we have common denominators, so I'll just write one of them and then we subtract the numerator side. So this is going to be 3 minus 12, and of course we're going to be getting the absolute value of -9/2, which is the same as positive 9/2, because we have absolute value. All right, so that is pretty much it for this question. Pretty easy and interesting one. This is the next question. We have to solve 1 plus absolute value of x plus 5 equal to -2. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to write the question once again. 1 plus the absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to -2. Then from here, I'll just get rid of this one right here by subtracting 1 on both sides, so that this one and then this -1 will go. Then I'm left with the absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to -2. -1 will give me -3. Now let's analyze this equation right here. Absolute value of any given number will be positive. All right, but here's the case, we have a negative value right here, so it means that no matter what, we cannot find a value in absolute value which will give us negative. So therefore this equation right here does not have any real solution. So actually no solution right here, because there is no way absolute value will be equal to negative. So no solution to this problem. Over here, I'm just going to copy everything again. We have 3x minus 4 plus 5, and this is equal to 27. Now next, I'm just going to get rid of this term right here by subtracting 5 from both sides, and you notice that this negative 5 and this will go. Then we have 2 times 3x minus 4 is equal to 27 minus 5 is giving us 22. Now again, we just want to isolate the whole of this, so that means we have to get rid of this 2 right here, and we can just do this by dividing both sides by 2. Then you notice that this 2 and this will go. Then we have the absolute value of 3x minus 4 is equal to 22 divided by 2 is giving us positive 11. So this is going to be positive 11. All right, then we write the two equations for this. So the first one is going to be 3x minus 4 is equal to positive 11, or the second one is going to be 3x minus 4 is equal to negative 11. So over here, let's start by solving the first equation. I'm going to add 4 on both sides like this, so that negative 4 and positive 4 will go. Then we are left with 3x is equal to 11 plus 4 is giving us 15. Then we go ahead and then divide both sides by 3, so that this and this will go. Then we have x is equal to 15 divided by 3 is giving us 5, and that is 8 for the first equation. Now let's move on to the second equation. Again, I'm going to have to add 4 on both sides like this, so that this negative 4 and this will go. Then we have 3x is equal to negative 11 plus 4 is giving us negative 7. So we're going to be getting negative 7 right here. Then we divide both sides by 3, just because we want this and this to cancel each other. Then we have x equal to negative 7 divided by 3, and this is the other value of x, and we can just go ahead and then test and see if this is true. All right, so when x is equal to, I think we have to go ahead and then test this value, because for sure this one will satisfy, even though I don't know, but let's try this first. All right, so when x is equal to negative 7 over 3, that means we're going to be getting, let's go ahead and then use this equation right here to verify, because this is the same as this equation, and this will save us a lot of time. So when x is equal to negative 7 over 3, we're going to be getting the absolute of 3 times negative 7 over 3, then minus 4. Okay, and we must get positive 11. So over here, you notice that this 3 and then this will go. Then we are left with negative 7 minus 4, which is giving us the absolute of negative 11, which is equal to positive 11. So this is true. And then when x is equal to positive 5, we're going to be getting the absolute value of 3 times 5, then minus 4, and we are going to be getting the absolute value of 3 times 5 is giving us 15, then minus 4, and for sure this is giving us the absolute value of 11, which is 11. So that means it is also true. All right, so you notice that for this question we have fraction in the absolute value. So in this situation the method is the same. So what we are going to do is that we're going to be writing the two equations, and the first one is going to be 4x plus 6 divided by 5, and this is equal to positive 6. And the second equation is going to be 4x plus 6 divided by 5, and this is equal to negative 6. So again, we just want to get rid of the fraction, and we can do that by multiplying both sides by 5 or cross multiplying. It is also the same. So this and this will go. Then we have 4x plus 6 is equal to 6 times 5 is giving us positive 30. All right, then next I'm just going to subtract 6 from both sides like this, so that this term right here will leave. Then we have 4x equal to positive 30 minus 6 is giving us positive 24. Then we go ahead and then divide both sides by 4. This and this will go. Then we have x is equal to 24 divided by 4 is giving us positive 6, because 6 times, so this is the same as 6 times 4 divided by 4, where this 4 cancel out this, then we are left with 6, and that is it. Now we move on to the second equation. Again, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to multiply both sides by 5 like this, so that this 5 right here will cancel out this. Then we are left with 4x plus 6 is equal to negative 6 times positive 5, that is negative 30. All right, then we subtract 6 from both sides like this, so that this and this will go. Then we have 4x equal to negative 30 minus 6 is giving us negative 36. Then we go ahead and then divide both sides by 4. And here you notice that this and this will go. Then we have x is equal to, now over here I can write this as 4 times negative 9 divided by 4, because 4 times negative 9 is negative 36, right? And it is clear that this value right here will cancel out this, then we are left with negative 9, and this is the other value. So that is pretty much it for this question. We can just go ahead and test if we want, and if we are testing, then we have to be a little bit faster. So here, when x is equal to positive 6, we're going to be getting 4 times positive 6 plus 6 divided by 5, absolute value of that, and this must give us this 6 right here. If we don't get 6, then we are wrong. So we're going to be getting the absolute value of 4 times 6 is giving us 24, plus this 6 is going to be 30 divided by 5, and this is what we have. And 30 divided by 5 is giving us 6, and absolute value of 6 is still positive 6. And that is it when x is equal to positive 6. How about when x is equal to negative 9? When x is negative 9, we're going to be getting the absolute value of 4 times negative 9 plus 6, or divided by 5. And here we go. We're going to be getting 4 times negative 9 is going to be negative 36, then plus 6 divided by 5, and this is going to be negative 36 plus 6 is giving us negative 30, then divided by 5. We have this right here, and this is going to be negative 6, and the absolute value is going to force this to become positive, and that is pretty much it. This question is kind of tricky, but it is not difficult. Now you notice that for this question we have absolute value on both sides. Now anytime you have a situation like this, just see the question as if there is only one absolute. Maybe if we consider this one, then it means that we are going to pretend as if there is no absolute right here. So in this case, what we are going to do is this: we're going to be writing the two equations, and the first one is going to be x minus 2 is equal to positive the values inside. Okay, so that means we're going to be getting x minus 10. Then the second equation is going to be x minus 2 is equal to negative the values or the terms inside. So in this case, it's going to be negative times x minus 10. Then we solve these two equations. Now you notice that there is something really serious about the first equation. Now if we go ahead and then add 2 on both sides like this, this and this will go, then we have x is equal to x minus 8. And guess what? We are trying to figure out what x is, but it turns out that the x is going to leave the system. All right, so that means if we go ahead and then subtract x on both sides, clearly we are going to be getting 0 right here, and then 0 also here, minus 8. And this statement right here is really false. There's no way 0 will be equal to negative 8. So in this situation, this is a false statement. That means this equation we are seeing right here do not have a solution. So no solution right here, no solution. Then we move on to the next one. This is where the game begins under this question. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to keep everything right here and then distribute this negative like this. Okay, so if we distribute it, we're going to be getting negative x, then negative times negative is going to be positive, so plus 10. Then from here, I'm just going to get rid of this term right here by adding 2 on both sides, so that this and this will go. Then we have x is equal to negative x. 2 plus 10 is giving us positive 12. I'm going to add x on both sides. like this, so that this negative and this positive will go. I just want all the x's to be on the left hand side, so we have x plus x, which is giving us 2x, and this is equal to positive 12. Then from here we go ahead and then divide both sides by 2, so that this and this will go, and then 2 goes into self 1 and then goes into this 6. Therefore x is equal to positive 6. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope and believe that you found the video useful. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, share to your friends, and I will see you again on the next video. Thanks for watching once again. Bye.